Oh, hi! Ruff Ruffman here from Fetch with Ruff Ruffman, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Go Fetch! Oh, wait, no, I mean, roll it. Sorry, habit.
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy to be here with us. Thank you for joining. As always, I'm your host, Jake. Definball with me today, as always, our co-host, Chris Bixby and Matt Bingo. How you guys doing?
We're good.
Doing good. Hello, folks. How are you, Jake?
Doing great. Thank you both for asking.
Yes, wonderful interview for you folks. Today's interview we have for you all is with songwriting and composing duo Steve D'Angelo and Terry Tompkins. Together, Steve and Terry wrote songs for a variety of children's series. A lot of them have been on PBS Kids with shows like Peep and the Big Wide World, Fetch with Ruff Ruffman, WordGirl, and Super. There's other shows that they've composed and written songs for as well. But we won't waste any more time. Let's get to the interview with Steve and Terry. We're sure you guys will enjoy it. Here it is.
Yeah, see you then. Hello everyone, welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive.
Yes, we're happy to welcome Steve D'Angelo and Terry Tompkins to the show. How are you both?
Great, thanks.
Absolutely,
Yes.
pleasure to have you both here.
Delighted to have you.
Delighted indeed. So to start this off, could you tell our audience a bit about yourselves and what you do?
Terry, you want to go first?
Okay. For years, I was in the animation business as a producer, mainly a songwriter with Steve, writing a lot of themes, going out and getting business, and that. So right now, I'm out of the business, and just working on my own music and working in the publishing world a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I started working in animation with Terry. Prior to that, I wrote underscore or a lot of music for commercials. I did that for many years, and then with Terry, wrote a lot of themes. Once again, in animation, themes, songs, and underscore. I do a lot of scoring to picture. So
Nice.
Wonderful. So what were your childhoods like and how did you grow up?
Interesting. I moved around a little bit when I was a kid in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada was where I was born. And went back and forth between there and Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But had a wonderful childhood, really, and watched a lot of animation. Played in some rock bands, some punk rock bands, did a bunch of different jobs. And really, it wasn't until I was 40. I think I was around 40 when I joined Eggplant, and that's where I met Steve. So that, I mean, really, my childhood isn't that remarkable, I don't think. But, it was typical growing up, middle class, suburbia.
Nice.
cool. I was born in Naples, Italy, and then at a very young age, my family immigrated to Canada. So then I to Toronto, and I spent my whole life here in Toronto, like from age 3 onwards. I got into music, I guess, around age 11 or so. I, took guitar lessons. I have an older brother who's a musician, and my father who's a musician, not professionally, but so there was a lot of music in the house. So I just gravitated to, I wanted to do music. And and then I worked professionally as a guitar player. I went to school. I studied jazz primarily, and where I also studied arranging and orchestrating and so on. And then I started getting work as a guitar player, and then started writing. So I don't know, maybe I think you want to know more about childhood, so I think we're getting too much into our adulthood, but yeah, nothing remarkable about my childhood, but definitely there was a lot of music growing up, that's for sure.
Nice.
In the subject of music, was writing music or working in music as a whole something you always wanted to pursue?
Um, I was about 13 when I started to play guitar. Um, and I was really attracted to rock and roll. My first record was a Beatles record.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and immediately I sort of, would pretend I was in a band. And then I didn't really start to play in bands till I was in high school. And I had no idea where my music career would end up. But I liked playing. I liked playing in front of people, and I liked songwriting. And I didn't ever see myself as being in the animation world. It just never crossed my mind. That was a thing that I could do. I didn't even know, what it was really. I remember, so but then I got a record deal with a major record label when I was late 20s, early 30s, and sort of went through that. And then I did a lot of straight gigs where I was, doing consulting for IT stuff. But I also did a lot of sales, and sort of that background of sales with music was a good fit for what the guys at Eggplant were looking at for. And then I started in advertising too, like Steve. And then basically decided that I liked the idea of royalties. And so that made it just so happened, like I was shopping around to live action drama studios and stuff like that. But the first gig that I was a part of that was animated was a show called Blobheads. It was partially animated. And then from there, it just started to roll. We just started to get gigs, and so I found myself in this world that I never imagined I'd be in, and really enjoying it too.
Nice, nice. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
I would say by about age 16, that's all I wanted to do. But unlike Terry, I never went the rock and roll route. Yeah, I mean, I love Led Zeppelin and all that, but I kind of had this sort of studio musician uh, mentality, and it's in part it's I think there was guys in that I knew that were older than me that were in that scene. They would do studio sessions, so that's sort of where my head was at, and so then I went to school for all of that, and it wasn't until about maybe in my early 20s that then I thought, well, you know what? Yeah, playing guitar is great, but I really like composing music. And besides songwriting, I really like instrumental music. So getting into score and underscore or whatever is was just made sense to me. So I really began pursuing that. And that's why I got into advertising was obvious. It was just not obvious. It was hard to get into that scene, but I broke into that scene. And so I was, writing music for all these ads. And I did one kids show in the 90s called Erie, Indiana, The Other Dimension. This is probably
Hmm.
before your time, guys. You don't know that show, right? Probably. Okay.
No.
Correct.
Yeah, it was a live action kids show. It was pretty cool. It was like a tween show. But that was my only experience in the kids space. And then it's when Terry arrived and at Eggplant, and then he expressed this desire to get into animation that I thought, oh, okay, that's cool. I'd like to do that too. So we sort of embarked on it together.
Nice. Nice.
Wonderful.
So now, who are some of your biggest musical influences or inspirations? I know, Terry, you mentioned, of course, you had a, Beatles record growing up.
Yeah. Um, well, really, I mean, back then it was all rock and roll, but there's not a style of music that I don't really revere some of the artists in. There's jazz artists I revere, there's classical composers I revere, and always go back to folk music, very simple rural music I like a lot. Um, and really any genre, there's something that I love about something in that space. So, I've always had it pretty open since I was, my mom started buying me classical albums before I knew really anything about classical when I was, sort of listening to Black Sabbath and other bands like that, Alice Cooper. And that just turned me on to a whole new world. And since then I've loved classical music. I mean, I have my favorite composers and stuff, but yeah, I'm pretty open-minded musically.
Growing up, I went prog rock, and then I went to jazz fusion, then I went to jazz, and then orchestral and classical and so on. But once I started composing music to picture, especially when I was doing it for ads, um, I gained an appreciation for all musical styles. So, like, I find merit in everything, like whether it's folk, not that I listen to that. Well, actually, I did go through a period where I listened to a lot of folk music, but even something like heavy, really, really heavy metal, that's not something I would put on, but I find merit in it as well because over the years I've had to emulate that. So you know what I mean? You get exposed to it and you listen to it, and then you go, "Oh yeah, it is cool." So, um, in our line of work, we were exposed to virtually every style of music, and you sort of gain an appreciation for all of it. So, yeah, more that than any one specific artist. I think it's just all these different styles that we've had to adopt in our line of work.
Nice.
Um, so now over the years, you both have composed music for a number of PBS Kids series, with one of your earliest being Peep and the Big Wide World. Can you kind of talk about how you kind of first began composing for them and what was composing for that show was like?
Well, got there, and Steve can tell you about the composing a part of it. So after Blobheads, we had this one little credit on our, animation reel. And so I just got on the phone, and there was a post supervisor, Jason Held, who had worked with us on Blobheads. And I think he was doing the post on Peep in the Big Wide World, and he got us into to be able to pitch.
Mhm.
And so when Steve and I pitched for a show, especially in the early days, we went hard. So we would maybe and back then they just basically, if you won the theme, you won the score. It's not always that way anymore, but back then it seemed to be. And then so we just wrote like 8 songs, locked ourselves into a room for a week, and we got the gig. And we wrote a great theme song, and we got
Yep.
Taj Mahal did the recording. So I went to Seattle to produce that. But the producer at the time just said, we just love that you put so much work into this pitch. And then they were good for Nine Story. That's Nine Story. They were good to us for years and years and years. It really helped us, expand our reel for sure.
Mhm.
And that's how that got. And just luckily, that was a great show, a very funny, great show on PBS.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still heralded as one of the a very iconic and special show. Yeah, to this day, it's still right, Terry. I know it's still very
Yeah.
hot.
Oh, yeah. You mention it to people, and they brighten up for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And it ran for years. And the people at WGBH, which was the PBS affiliate that was doing the producing on it, were great to us too, and fed us work for years. It just was kismet that we got that gig. Thank you, Jason Held, for getting us in that pitch. And it really kickstarted us there.
Yeah, it did. It did. That show kind of launched us. Yeah, Terry's right. We used to lock ourselves in a room and just write a boatload of songs on a pitch. Something
we
else,
had a lot of fun doing it too.
yeah, we did. We had a lot of fun doing it. And I think something else too, back in those early days, I don't know about you, Terry, but I don't recall ever educating myself on kids' music. In other words, what other people were doing.
Oh.
We didn't listen to it. We just said, we're just going to write what we think works. And we just wrote. And I think we sounded different.
Yeah, we weren't getting the same old, same old.
Same old, same old. We were always, sort of out of the box. And so that helped us immensely.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of my favorite theme songs.
Yeah.
And the score was pretty cool too. It was a very small, quirky score. It was like maybe 6 or 7 instruments. And it never really went beyond that. And it was it was small sounding in a good way, because the show was very quiet too. It was a very quiet show, to this day, I don't think I've ever scored anything like Peep in the Big Wide World. It remains one of my favorite scores. So very happy.
And one of the things that I think Steve and I tried to do, and this was just natural to us, is we would never write down to the audience.
Right.
We would never deliver really kitty sort of, cut and paste creative. We would always stretch ourselves creatively to make something special.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like Terry earlier mentioned Blobheads. I remember the theme to that show was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of Beck-like, not, exactly, but you know what I mean? It was pretty hip, way hipper than what was normally out there in the kids space. And that's because we just that's kind of what we were hearing. It wasn't trying to pander, right? So.
Nice.
That's great.
Nice. So continuing your work with GBH, you also composed for the revival of Zoom. What was that show kind of like for you?
That was cool, because I remembered the original Zoom.
Yeah.
Come on and zoom. All we did on that though is we
revamped,
sort of remixed it a little bit.
Yeah, we contemporized it. I can't remember. I just remember, the only memory I have of that is being in Boston on the floor with kids and sort of voice directing them. But I don't remember what we did with that theme, but I think that's what we did. We just contemporized it, but we still had elements of the original. But
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was, Kathy, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
Producer.
Yeah. Lovely lady.
On a couple things. But yeah. It was just fun, because that show had a version, I guess, back when I was preteen or something. I don't know.
Was it Kate Taylor? Was it?
No, not Kate Taylor.
Kate was Peep.
Yeah, Kate was Peep.
Kathy Chagru.
Kathy Chagru. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
Gotcha. So you also wrote the theme songs for Fetch with Ruff Ruffman and Design Squad. Could you kind of talk a bit about those?
Yeah. Fetch was we wrote with
Fetch was once again was a pitch.
Big
as
band.
always, we locked ourselves in a room and wrote a boatload of tracks. And they went with this Gene Krupa big band swing thing. And I think it's a great track. And I always I remember the opening visuals were fantastic too. It was just, it looked cool, and I really liked that track a lot. That won
Yeah.
us. That one, Terry and I. Is that the one that won us an Emmy? I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And hats off to Fetch, Jim Conroy.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, Jim. Yeah,
Jim,
he's the
Jim
best. Yeah,
Conroy.
previous
Yeah,
guest
he's
a
a
while
super
back.
nice guy. I'm still in touch with
He's
him.
Long time.
great.
But he was, I've always
Yeah,
taken
to
on that.
let him know that you both said hi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, he's a great guy. But he did such a great job with the sing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did totally.
Oh
It was
yeah, he does such a
hilarious.
great job with. I mean, not just with Ruff Ruffman, but also other things he's done.
Yeah.
For his voiceover, of Kenny the Shark and other things. And now he's doing for a Disney series called Primos.
Primos.
Okay. Yeah.
Very, very talented guy for sure.
Yeah, lovely guy.
Yes. Absolutely. And what about Design Squad?
Design Squad, we had a band come and do that. It was a local.
Oh no, are you sure? Was it Design Squad or?
Yeah, I think Design Squad, we had a band, didn't we? Or
No, I don't think so. I know which one you're thinking of, but now I can't remember that show. There was a show where we had a Boston sort of an alt kind of band play the theme. Is that the one you're
we
thinking of?
did that twice, though, I think. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
That's okay.
It is
There's a lot
a
of
while
shows
ago.
in our background. Design Squad, I thought we had a Boston band, and then we had
maybe.
another one where we got some punk band from Austin, I want to say.
Yeah, it was a punk.
The
Yeah.
Ritalin Kids.
Yeah, the Ritalin
They were
Kids.
called the Ritalin Kids.
Oh, gotcha.
Squad, or they did maybe not Psy Girl. That doesn't make sense.
No, Psy Girls is a different show. You know what? I was actually when you said Design
remember that
Squad,
one, too.
I thought of Psy Girls. That's another show. No, Design Squad, I think was the Ritalin Kids. Yeah, it is a while ago, guys, so it's a little foggy, but
No worries.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
bringing
That's
back a lot
wonderful.
of memories.
Yeah.
We should have done our research.
Yeah, we're too lazy.
No worries, all good.
No worries at all, you
worries.
two.
Don't worry
You're good, you're
about
good.
it.
You don't have to make a perfect answer for each of them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it happens when you've done so many projects. So like, oh, what was it? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. Over so many years too.
yeah.
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 That's fair.
You no worries at all. So now, one of your longest running music jobs was composing the theme, scoring, and songs for Super Wide, which was co-created by children's television legend Angela C. Santamero. What was kind of getting to composing for that like?
Okay.
Fun.
It's a lot of fun.
That's another nice story gig. I think no, that was Decode at the time that brought us onto Super Wild.
Yes, it was season 2, I think. Do you remember we made a conscious decision to write R&B music?
Oh yeah,
For
that's
whatever reason, we said, let's do like a Marvin Gaye thing, or like we wanted to write rhythm and blues type melodies, and that's what we did. Once again, it wasn't because we thought, oh, this would be perfect for a preschool show that teaches, curriculum to kids. It was just, we just thought, hey, we think this would be cool, and they loved it. We pitched like that, and we won that job. And once again, I really like the songs in that show. I mean, I guess the production's a bit dated now, obviously, but but definitely I still really like the melodies and chords and so on. I think they're strong songs. So So answer your question,
Absolutely.
we had a great time. And even with the score, it did go on for a long time, for sure. We did multiple seasons of that, but definitely it was a tremendous fun.
Yeah, we like when they go a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We hired sort of the go-to studio singer in Toronto, who's now the lead vocalist for the band Chicago. His name's Neil.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, wow.
Fabulous singer.
Oh nice.
Lovely guy. And and he killed it. He sounds great on it.
Absolutely
Oh,
wonderful
yeah.
theme song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I got this also saying the super readers to the rescue and the hip hip hooray
Yeah.
Yeah, we did those.
too.
Hip hooray.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're like have like songs that like basically like every like end of the episode where they always have like a character song
Yeah, yeah.
before the
Yeah.
Like
credits. Like
it's rhyming time. WHY spells Y. It's,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
those kind of stuff.
some of those
We
songs,
did a
I
good
believe.
alphabet song, I thought, for that, didn't we?
Yeah, we
yeah,
did an
Pig's
alphabet.
alphabet song. Yeah,
Yeah, we did all the songs. But a lot of those songs, the ones within the episode, over and above the theme and the Time to Fly song and the Hip Hip Hooray song, uh,
yeah,
those were sung by Neil Denali. The other songs were sung by the characters in the show.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't remember
yeah.
the
hmm
cast, but
Right. Yeah.
that's who sang those. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, there were a lot of tracks in that show. I
Definitely.
guess that's more. You guys must have probably. You probably grew up watching that. I
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Huge part of my childhood. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's also as well. Yeah, of
Yes.
course. Yes, yeah. Such another amazing, wonderful show. So now, so you also composed the theme and scoring on another previous series, WordGirl. What was writing
Yeah.
music for that like?
Okay.
Awesome. That was
It-
a great show.
yes, very funny.
Yes. Yeah. And very fun to work with those guys. What was the company
Soup
called?
to nuts.
Soup to Nuts.
Soup to nuts.
They were just great to work with, and it was such a funny show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was we were just happy to be involved, I think, in that show.
And the theme, once again, was sort of like Terry and I really loved the original Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
animated series, and so we wanted to do something like that. So we were sort of in that camp, and we got, geez, Terry, do you remember her name? Big voice, Toronto singer, Sharon Lee Williams.
Yes.
It was her, right? Yeah.
So yeah.
She came in and nailed it. Sort of like man, the other name escapes me. We were going for that.
Yeah, Sharon Lee Williams. Yeah,
Yeah, that's just, I'm trying to remember in the style of big diva from the past. Anyways, whatever.
Oh, yeah, the Bond singer.
Yes, the Bond singer. That's what we wanted, right?
What's her name?
What's her name?
Oh.
Like, Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah, we were going after that
Mhm.
kind of a vibe. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I could see that. Yeah. Very kind of like
Right.
adventurous sounding
Yeah.
music. Yeah. I remember that
Absolutely.
show. Yeah.
absolutely. I want to ask because since we're talking about that like show, like did you? I mean, it's okay you both didn't get to do it at all, but I just want to ask, do you both get to like compose or like involved in the what's your favorite word song that the show was part of too, or you didn't?
Sorry, I don't.
There was like a segment in the show called "What's Your Favorite Word?" and there was like a brief little theme to that. And I guess he's asking if you both were involved in composing that.
I'm sure we would have been because we did all of the music for the show, but I don't recall. I'm sorry, I don't remember that specific.
I mean that was kind of a little like a 5 second thing, so it's
Yeah.
no
Oh,
worries
you
at
know
all.
what? Who knows? I wonder if one of the actors just sort of improvised that. I don't know. I honestly don't remember that little segment, but
Yeah. That's okay.
No worries at all.
Totally fine, totally fine. So, on the subject of long-running PBS series, you also wrote some songs for Arthur. Could you kind of talk about your work on that?
we never did score. We just did over the years. They would come to us. Once again, it was GBH, right? They would
Yeah.
come to us just to write
Yeah.
episodic songs, and we did a bunch. But I think the most memorable one, Terry, at least for me, anyways, it was more. I think the show finale, if you recall, we did a kind of kind of a rap type tune.
Yeah, I remember
Okay.
writing that.
Yeah, it was a great track. Really, really cool track. There was a bunch of variations on it. I'd say over the years we didn't do a lot of Arthur's songs. Maybe we did total like 10 or 12. We didn't do that much work on Arthur, but definitely the finale. I remember that, and it was the show finale. It was like their last season. And
Yeah.
Yeah, where all the characters, like the last episode, they got to like all grown up pretty much.
kind of, yeah. And I remember it was the theme about family or something, family, right? Remember that, Terry?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted to get Chance the Rapper, didn't they?
That's right. And I
They
remember
never did. But
well, he said yes. He said yes. And then at the 11th hour, he said no.
Oh,
So
wow.
that would have been cool to work with him, but
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
interesting.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about the That's What Makes You Family? Is
That
that
song,
it?
yeah.
that one.
Yes.
That's-
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah. But
absolutely.
anyways, it was good.
Yes.
That's great. So now, the latest PBS Kids show you wrote music for is Molly of Denali. What was working on that like?
Okay. Well, I mean, really, Terry and I acted as producers on it. In other words, we would liaison between Lorenzo and the clients and so on. But so our role was really just at the very beginning, pitching on the show to get it,
Right.
and
Mhm.
and excuse me, working a little bit on the first episode, the pilot, and
Yeah.
then Lorenzo knocking it out of the park for the subsequent episodes and seasons.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But that show was created by Dorothea, so the same person who created WordGirl.
that's right. Same, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
nice, nice.
That's cool.
So moving on now from your work with PBS, you also wrote music for the shows Toot and Puddle and Harry and His Bucket Full of Dinosaurs. What were those like?
Both great shows.
Yeah, very good show.
We did the themes for both, and good themes. And I really I worked on the score on those. Really enjoyed it. Toot and Puddle was a beautiful looking show. 2D animation, really
Oh yeah.
beautiful animation. Each frame looked like a painting. It was so lovely. And I love the softness of that cartoon. There was something very heartwarming about it. And then they traveled all over the world to the two little pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then Harry was a very, very successful show. It still runs, I believe. And it was huge in the UK.
And that was our second show.
Yeah, it was our second.
Came
That's
right
right.
after Peep.
Yeah, CCI Entertainment, Arnie. That's who yeah. That's right. And very successful show. Good score. Great concept too. Yeah, it was very, very, very clever. Yeah,
Nice.
but definitely great experiences for sure.
Absolutely.
Also wrote songs for Thomas and Friends and Astroblast as well. Could you kind of talk about your work with them, especially with Thomas also being a long-running franchise?
Yeah. Well, I think Terry and I've never done the official count, but I'd say we probably wrote about 15 to 20 songs for them,
Yeah.
Terry, right? We wrote a lot of tunes. I remember liking them all. I thought they were really strong songs.
And the
And
producer we were working with was pretty hip.
yeah, he was. I think that's why we enjoyed it so much. He would send us references and they were odd. Definitely.
Yeah.
They were unusual. So that's why we were writing cool. He didn't want the obvious kind of pop. He wanted something cooler. And then one season they came to us and we rearranged the opening theme.
Yeah, the engine will call. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. That was a weird one because, I mean,
Yeah.
it was fine, but I remember getting a lot of, I don't want to use the word hate mail, but some people were very upset, and I had to
Yeah.
justify. I had to justify saying, "Look, man, it wasn't my call. We were asked
Yeah.
to do that. So, what are you going to do?"
Yeah.
Because prior to that, they had used the other theme prior for like, oh gosh, like
40 years.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All of a sudden,
Okay.
in comes this thing with synthesizers and
How to
this.
make a new arrangement for newer fans or
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and of course I had to speed it up, but anyways, it was just I've always I don't when you have a classic theme, I the idea of contemporizing that does not appeal to me. It's kind of like just leave it alone because
Yeah.
it's so iconic that but
yeah.
anyway, it was a gig, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
A
Yeah,
lot of
even
people, a lot of people are like that. If it's classic, leave it alone. Don't touch
leave it
it.
alone. Don't touch
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
yeah, like I mean, because I mean, I'm sure you too, like before you got the chance to work on Tommy's either way, like you already know like how like the original was, and then like I'm sure I know it's cool for you both get to be a part of it, I'm sure,
Oh
but at
yeah.
the same time,
Absolutely.
but at the same time, be a part, Thomas franchise anyway. But like rearranges, like I mean, we get that.
Yeah.
Like really, do we have to do a new version of this?
Right.
No, I know. We were
Yeah,
very hesitant to do it, but you can't say no to a client, right? And this is the
Yeah.
same client
exactly.
Right.
that kept coming
I
back
mean,
to
that's kind of how
us.
music biz does.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And what about Astroblast?
Oh, Astroblast was a fun theme, and the score was fun. That was another funny show. Was that Soup to Nuts as well, Terry?
Yeah, maybe.
I think so. I think it was Soup to Nuts. Yeah. Very, very. It was another that odd humor. It,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was
I'm getting it mixed up with Rocket Monkeys.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah, Rocket Monkeys.
that
Yeah.
was another great experience. Who on the theme is another. It's a bit of an odd theme, but it's Tony Daniels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just sort of
Oh, Daniels, yeah, right, okay.
talking his way through. Very, very, very funny guy,
Yeah.
and a man of many voices. But yeah,
And a great singer.
yeah, he actually is a very good singer. Yeah. Talented guy.
He's one
Nice,
of a
nice.
kind, Tony Daniels. You should get him on your show. He's got some
Yeah,
good stuff.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you, Steve, you've also composed for various feature films and a documentary series. How would you compare kind of composing for those to composing for, children's series?
Yeah, well, very different. I also, over the years, have done extensive music for here, like for the CBC news. So all the like, sorry, you guys are based where now? Just so you're
Yeah, no worries. I'm based in Massachusetts.
Mass.
And
Okay,
and Jake and I are in different parts of Maryland.
okay, great. So
So
CBC is
all East Coast.
All
all
East
East
Coast,
Coast.
yes.
Okay. So the CBC is our national broadcaster, and they have a flagship show called The National, which is a nightly news, like national news. So since 2009, I've been providing music for that, and then all these other offshoots of news type shows. So yes, there's that, and then there's lots of feature films and documentaries. How is it different? It's totally different. Like it's not better, it's not worse, it's just completely different.
Yeah.
So if you're scoring for a cartoon, chances are if you have like a 30-second cue, you're gonna musically hit a few more things, you're gonna twist and turn a little more. Whereas if I'm doing a 30 or 40-second cue in a movie, it's more like an underpinning, and I might, get a good in point, maybe hit something in the middle, and then get a good out point. It's less marking exact, you know what I mean? The hitting many points in a 30-second scene. There's less of that when you're doing a film.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, typically the nature of the music. I mean, I've done a few rom-coms, but by and large, they're more like a lot of thrillers and stuff like that. So just the nature of the music is very different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we're getting close to wrapping up, can either one of you share any projects you're currently working on, at least that you are allowed to talk about?
Right. Uh, Oh yeah, I have to be careful because
Yeah.
I can't name some. There's
Mhm.
there's a show that Terry was very much involved with too called Work It Out Wombats. So there's a
Oh
second.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
wonderful show. Yeah.
Great show.
It is
Yeah.
actually a really good show.
Hmm.
I just finished a thriller, another film about a month ago, and now I have another one coming January, and then
Hmm.
just last week finished a, a new opening for a show called The Fifth Estate. It's another CBC docu series. Yeah, so that's about it for now, and then personal projects. But yeah,
Right.
I'm just I'm working on right now a new album. My band's called Lost and Profound, if anyone wants to go on
Right.
Spotify.
Okay.
And just living out in the country, consulting on the children's music scene for a major publisher.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Nice.
yeah. So, working with composers, but just on a more business level.
Right. Absolutely.
Nice. Looking forward to what's coming up next in store for you both.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks. Nice
Absolutely.
it was fun going down memory
yeah,
lane.
it certainly was.
Thank
Yeah.
God you guys had facts.
Yes, absolutely.
Good.
So to finish off the trip down a memory lane here, the last question that Jake's about to ask is a question we ask all of our guests at the end. Go ahead, Jake.
Thank you, Chris. So, of course, this podcast called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you both think of nostalgia, what do you think of? Or in your own words, how would you define the word nostalgia?
Mm.
Hmm. I think of it as a connection to something that meant a lot to you at one point of time. That's still, you can still bring that feeling back by being exposed to it.
Mhm.
If that
Absolutely.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Of course.
yeah, and of course, Terry and I being similar age, we probably share the same nostalgia for shows that we grew up with, right? Um, yeah, and so you harken back to those shows, and it just sort of brings back a feeling of what is it, warmth, happy times, especially if they're
Easier times,
yeah,
simpler times.
it's much simpler times. Although I will say some of the stuff that we would, let's say, nostalgic animation uh, um, that I think be would still hold up no problem would be the Merry Melody stuff, right, Terry? All the
Oh
Bugs
yeah, the
Bunny and
best.
all that. That's genius.
Still the best to
It's
me.
still the best.
Funniest.
I haven't seen a Bugs Bunny now, and I have a box, a Blu-ray set of like all of them. I haven't
Hmm.
looked at one in like over 10 years, but I'm pretty certain that if I did, I would still be impressed with the look, the music, the writing, everything, and the voice acting.
Yeah.
Other nostalgic stuff that, would purely be nostalgia, but probably would not hold up. There's a lot of stuff from our youth, like shows that I'm sure if we saw them now, we'd go, yeah, not not
Yeah.
that
There's
good.
Yeah.
a lot of bad animated shows in the
Oh,
70s. I
terrible.
remember.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, let's
you
not
know,
name them though.
Right.
no,
No, let's
well,
not do
Right.
that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, definitely that's harkening back to a simpler time. So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Gerds
Thank you
and
so
on.
much. Thank you both.
oh,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Steve and Terry, thank you so much for this. This was a blast.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. It was a lot
Been
of
Of
fun.
fun.
course. Thank you both very much again for this.
Thanks,
Mhm.
guys. Good luck with the show. Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you both very
Best of luck
much.
to
You
you
too.
and you both in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thanks
Absolutely.
so much.
Likewise.
Of course.
Take
Absolutely.
care.
Thank you, you too.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good
You
one.
as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thanks again. You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, it's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time with Steve D'Angelo and Terry Tompkins. Links to where you can connect with them will be in the description down below, or links where you can check out his work, including Terry's band. Links to that will be in the description down below too. Goodbye from us as well. Jake, take us home, my friend. What do we say?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
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 Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.